We all ready? Okay, so good morning, everybody. Special thank you to the Vice Chancellor, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, and to all of you ladies and gentlemen who are seated here. As we all know, our theme is there, shown on the screen. This will be the outline of my presentation this morning. So we're going to start with just what is inclusive education, types of disability, importance of inclusive education, ICT to achieve inclusive education, services and ICT available here at USB, suggestions for improvement, outcome, and the conclusion. I just wanted to begin with this quote. Diversity is the mix, inclusion is making the mix work. And that is by Andres Tapia. So I'm sure because you're all academic people here, you would have an idea what that means. I wanted to begin my presentation with what is inclusive education. First of all, it just refers to, it means all students. And all students having access to education, all students meaning students with disabilities or students with any other learning needs. They're able to attend, they are welcomed. So USB or any other tertiary institute or academic institute opens its doors to having students come in and learn. And they have the freedom to select or to choose the course that they want to learn. Now in a lot of mainstream schools currently, the ones that are mainstream at the moment, students with disability are actually forced into a program that they may not have particularly chosen. For example, a high school here in Suva, even though some of the students, say deaf students, want to take science because of the lack of interpreters or because it's not accessible, they're forced to take arts or they're forced to take other subjects. So they do not have the opportunity to choose for themselves the course that they want. And inclusive education also means that the students, when they come, they are supported to learn. They have the support. So here, we have support services for all students. We have the SLS, the Student Learning Support System for any student. And for students with disability, we have our Disability Resource Center. Inclusive education also enables students with disability to contribute. So contribute in terms of, if we are given an education, we can find employment and even contribute to the economic development. That's sort of the bigger goal. And that way we can be more independent in our lives. That is sort of the big outcome that we want from inclusive education. We are able to participate. Students with disabilities are able to participate. With participation, there's increased interaction with peers. And participate, for example, this forum, I'm able to come here because of sign language interpreters provision. And also any other event, we're able to participate in it because it's accessible. And participate not only in the academic part of university life, but also all aspects. So we have like orientation day, open day, VC forum like this one, social events that we students with disability would like to be a part of. So just for example, being able to take part in orientation, the students learn of the available support services that are there. And I'm sure this is all the same with any other students that's coming in. So just a brief look at the types of disability that we have to deal with. These are just some of the types of disabilities, and students with these types of disabilities exist here in USP. But it's important to note, we don't really have to learn of the different types of disability per se, but it's important to note that people are different. And for example, not all blind people are the same. We are all different. We have our own different learning styles and different ways that we want to be supported. So it's important that we interact with those students, or we ask those questions to those particular students when we come into contact with them and find out how to best support them. There was a famous baseball league player, Jim Abbott. And he's a famous baseball player in the US, but he was born with only one hand. Now, I like what he said, and I'd like to quote that. I've learned to do things differently, but the important thing is learning to do things differently, learning to do those things better. And that we are not to focus on our disability, but rather we owe ourselves to focus on our abilities. And that's the only way to succeed. Now, coming down to the importance of inclusive education, and I would like to use myself as an example in this. Now, the only reason I'm here at USP is because it's accessible. Now, if USP was not accessible, I probably would have just finished off, or if there's no inclusive education at all, I'll probably be at home, isolated, not knowing what's happening around me. So development is one of the outcomes of inclusive education. There's more employment opportunities. So I'm currently studying a diploma in early childhood, and my hope is that as I graduate, I have a better opportunity of getting an employment. I have dignity and self-respect. I'm able to fulfill my dreams. Now, just because we are people with disabilities doesn't mean that we do not have dreams. We're the same as everybody else. We're not aliens. You all have dreams. You all have aspirations. So do we. And I dream, one day I hope to get married and settle down. I'm still single, so if anybody's buying, I'm available. Not too available, but yeah. I'm empowered as a result of being educated. Because we students with disabilities, or we people with disabilities, we are susceptible, vulnerable to abuse, to harassment. And so being educated just gives us that extra power to be able to advocate with ourselves, or to be aware of what's happening to us. And we know our rights, and we're able to fight for it. Awareness is another outcome of having an education. Being aware of what's happening around us, new developments, and so forth. We're actually up to date, and we're included. And inclusive education helps achieve an inclusive community. So because the school fosters this environment, eventually it will leak out into the community. And most of all, staff and students without a disability, they're more aware and more sensitive. and just more experience in dealing with diversity. So how does ICT contribute to achieving inclusive education? Just wanted to read, to state again that it's just one of the tools for development, but a necessary tool for students with disabilities. It enables students with disabilities to enhance understanding. So here, just in a simple use of PowerPoint says a lot. It makes learning a lot more easier for us. We have one student here who's taking foundation, and because the lecturer uses PowerPoint presentation, it's easy because the student is deaf. They're able to see the technical words that they need to learn. It creates an interest in learning, and because the understanding is enhanced, the student enjoys learning. ICT also helps us access lectures and notes. And these are the ones that are provided online. We're able to access it due to the adaptive assistive technologies that are available. We're able to do research and complete assignments independently. We're able to communicate with other students, lecturers, and other relevant people. So we're no longer isolated, but now we're being part of the community. And we're being aware of what's happening. You know, just for instance, I love reading what's happening. I was able to participate in the Genesis program because I found that out on Facebook. No one told me, but I actually discovered that on the student email. So thanks to student email, that makes us aware of what's happening. And because we're included, students feel valued. And because of that, they enjoy going to class and are more confident to interact. But also with ICT, not only are students having access to their learning, persons with disability can also now be employed here as lecturers or even tutors. So currently, what is available here at USP? We have the Disability Resource Center. Now, I just wonder how many of you know where that is? Anyone? I'm sure you all know. I was expecting a room full of people raising their hands. So, the Disability Resource Center is located, okay, let me start from, you have the bookshop, and there's a car park, and then the West Bank, and there's a path going in between the West Bank and that medical center. So it's the building at the back of the West Bank, towards your left, if you're walking towards it. If you're free, please do come down and find out what's at the Disability Resource Center. So, the Resource Center was only set up as a result of the endorsement of the inclusive policy. So what does it provide? First of all, a safe learning space for students with disability. We have PCs, because it's hard to have access to the ones in the labs, and because there's limited PCs, so we have one set aside especially for students with disability, but also those PCs are loaded with software specific to the need of students with a disability. So it helps them access whatever notes they need or information that they need. It's also used as an exam venue. So it helps students, so the software also helps students sit for exams because they, yeah. And the staff and personnel there, they advocate for the needs of students with disability. And also other students, we help advocate for each other. Okay, so these are some of the assistive devices that we were talking about. We have the read and write 10 goal for dyslexia. So it's just a brief blurb there on what dyslexia is, and it's installed in all the labs. Now, it's what I've been told. Now, I didn't even know that that existed. Yeah. Because when I came in, you know, there's so much happening that for us we can easily get lost. But as a result of my research putting together my presentation, I found this out, that there was this tool available that even students who are deaf can use this, because we struggle with English. English is our major barrier, reading and writing in a language that we do not use every day. Because we are visual learners, we use sign language, our reading and writing can become very poor. So this particular tool helps edit our work or helps check the grammar for our work. So this is something I know that I'm going to be trying to learn from now on. So this is another assistive device or tool that blind people use. So those 4 points there, those are the functions of that particular Braille Sense notebook. Have any of you seen this particular device, a tool? Some of you, few of you. And then, as was discussed before, we have the JAWS NVDA. It's a screen reader that helps blind students access whatever information is being displayed. And this is actually very important since you're going to move, if you're moving towards online learning, then it has to be accessible to the blind students. And this one is called the electronic Braille Embosser. It actually prints material in Braille so that students who are blind can have a read if they're wanting a print copy. Now, I'm really proud of some initiatives that USP are taking. I found out that they're offering courses. ED401 is to an awareness for the learning needs of students with disability. And also ED403 that actually teaches assistive technology specific to students with disability. So I think this is for the lecturers. Okay, I've been told 2 minutes. Okay. Just some suggestions for improvement. It'd be great if all forms of media to be made accessible, especially audio, for us who are deaf to be transcribed, video captioning. One thing we found that the captioning on YouTube is very inaccurate, so we would like a proper captioning for any videos downloaded from YouTube. And for our DRC space, the numbers are growing, students with disability, because of how accessible USB is now. So, of course, with growth comes space. So we need a bigger space. So we are hoping that we have JAWS and other tools be installed in all labs so that we are not cocooned to one corner of USB. We've also found that during graduation, it's really hard for us who are deaf to see our interpreters because they're all the way in the front and we're probably all the way at the back. So we've thought that since we're talking about tools, ICT tools, it'd be great to project our interpreter up on a big screen rather than fighting for space up in the front with the VIP people, you know. So just have it conveniently done by projecting the interpreter up on a big screen. One of our wish lists is for USB to work with our sponsors or possible sponsors so that we are supported with the purchase of our own laptop or other devices that we will really need for our learning. And of course, in the long term, for DRC to be decentralized to other regions so that students from other Pacific islands can have access to learning. And of course, we're talking about training and professional upgrade, lecturers to take ED401 and 403. So these are some of the outcomes that we would see. And I don't want to go through it all, but it's all there. Because of time, I'm going to keep going. So conclusion, a nation's culture resides in the hearts and in the souls of its people. That's by Mahatma Gandhi. So USP's culture actually resides in the hearts and souls of the lecturers, teachers, management, and students that belong here to USP. So we can create an inclusive culture right here in USP. Thank you.
you very much. That was really very interesting. And just I can announce that we are expanding the disability resource centre quite extensively as well. So that's in response to the demand. Last year we did quite a campaign around the local high schools because we do have quite a lot of facilities here for disabled people, and became evident that local disabled people didn't know that. And so we did a bit of a roadshow and we doubled our numbers. And so it's been really tremendous. And so it's